Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to Card Making Project 580 using our gorgeous Anna Griffin supplies. Today's card is quite a collection of different items that we might have in our stash from our Anna Griffin products. So check the blog for all the items that I've used. I also include extra photos on there as well of both inside and outside of the project, so it's always worth checking. Now, it's great to have your comments and your messages. Please give me the thumbs up if you enjoy the videos and the tutorials. And don't forget, you can always share with your crafty friends. So without further ado, please sit back, relax, and let's have a look at today's gorgeous card making tutorial. For today's project, we're going to use the chalkboard stamps from Anna Griffin. We're going to be using the lace border embossing folders. Now there's dies to match these as well. They were all sold together in one collection. But we're going to be using just the crocheted lace 3D embossing folder from this collection. We're also going to be using the lace edge dies. This particular die we're going to use the ornate layer and the shadow layer. And then we're going to be using the Anna Griffin Bohemian cut and embossed dies. And we're going to use this particular die here and the shadow layer. So the first thing that we need is our base card. I'm using a 7x5 inch card in ivory, and I've already gone ahead and stamped the back and added my name, so the recipient, if I was to give this to somebody, they will know exactly who's made it for them. I'm going to use my bone folder from the Anna Griffin tool collection, and I'm just going to make sure I've got a nice sharp crease along the edge of the card, and this makes it look professional and it just gives it a neater overall finish. That's just my personal view. I like doing that. So we're going to turn our attention to the front, to the inside of the card, not the front, to the inside first. Now I've used the crocheted lace 3D embossing folder on the metallic layers from Anna Griffin, and then I've just trimmed the edge so that it takes the edge of the actual embossing folder, and then I've just added a little bit of ink over the top, and then I've taken it back through the Empress between two pieces of paper just to squash the embossing a little bit, and it just gives it a different feel. And it's a great technique you can try with your embossing folders, just something a little bit different. I've got flat tape already on the back, and I'm just going to position this in the centre of my card, like that. So I can press that down. Now, even though it's embossed, the card will still close. There's some layers on the front, so the embossing will make no difference to that little bit of extra height to the inside of your card. So go for it. Try embossing in the centre of your card. It's something a bit different. So we've got a section for the to and your from and your little message, so that's good. I've used a chalkboard stamp to stamp out happy birthday to you. I've used Stays On ink, and that gives me a good dark, well in this case black finish. And I like Stays On ink. It's the one I always turn to for my sentiments if I'm using black, and it's the ink that I use when I always stamp the handmade by on the back of the cards. Now I've got flat tape on the back, so I've just peeled that away, and I am simply going to position that just at one side of the actual centre, and then I've taken two of the flowers from the mini favourite flower stickers, and instead of using them as a layered flower, I've been quite naughty and I've peeled the top away from the underneath, so when you get them they're a 3D effect and you've got two layers. So I've peeled one layer away from the other, and I've turned them into flat stickers. So on one of the layers I need some tape, because that was the 3D layer, and then the other layer is still a sticker even though it's now flat. So I can peel the back away and then add this to the side of my sentiment that we've stamped. And that's our insert finished. As easy as that. And very pretty. Love those peach tones. So now I can turn my attention to the front, and I'm just going to use my bone folder again, just to make sure that that crease is nice and sharp. So for the front of our card, the first layer, I've taken some of the Lila scrapbooking paper from the designer collection, and I've cut it to, it's 6.8 inches and by 4.8 inches. So it's just slightly smaller than the actual card base itself, and that gives a good layer for the base layer. Now I've left it as an entire piece. I haven't cut the centre out of it. I've not been frugal with this one, and I'm just going to add that through the centre so it shows the edge just around the card. There we go. It's like it leaves a frame for it. Our next layer is our embossed layer, and this is where we've used the crocheted lace 3D embossing folder. I haven't inked it this time like we did for the centre. I've embossed it, and then I've cut out the edges, and I've also cut out sections around the lace for the frame. So I've got it on 3D foam, and I've used the metallic layers from Anna Griffin. The 7 by 5 inches, the metallic layers. So I'm just going to place that over the top of our previous layer. Our next layer is from the lace edge dies, and this is the shadow layer, and then I've also cut out the ornate layer. So the ornate layer is in the same peach metallic cardstock from the metallic layers, and that's on 3D foam, and I'm going to position it onto the shadow layer that I've cut out in the Lila scrapbooking paper, the designer collection. I've got that on flat tape on the back, and then I can add this to my project through the centre of the actual frame. So it's layering on layers. There we go. I think that's roughly central. Press that down. Next, I've die cut the shadow layer from the Bohemian die collection and the ornate die. And again, I'm going to layer the ornate die on top of the shadow layer like that. That was on 3D foam. I've got flat tape on the back of the shadow layer. I can peel that away, and then I'm going to add this over the top of our previous layer, and I'm adding it long ways, so it's going vertically rather than horizontally through the centre of our card. So we're showing our ornate layers underneath for the edges, so I can press that down. Next, I've used the same sentiment as I used for the centre of the card. I've used the chalkboard stamps, and I've added 3D foam right in the middle of my sentiment, because I want the sentiment to sit in this centre here. I was going to say centre pocket, but it's not a pocket. It's like an inset from the actual die. So I'm just going to add that over the top, and that will stick down in the centre like so. Now I've taken some of the mini flowers from the mini flower sticker collection, and I'm going to add these to the edge of my card. I've got 3D foam on sections of them and not on other sections, so I can add them kind of going off the edge of the centre and then following down along the edge as well. And then I've got the same again for the other side. So it's kind of symmetrical but kind of not, if that makes sense. There we go. Press those down. And then to finish it off, I've got a gorgeous lilac bow. And this is one of Anna's large satin bows. I've just got 3D foam on the corners, on the edges of the bow on the back. And then I've actually got a little bit of flat tape in the centre. I don't always add the flat tape, but I have done for this one. So then I can position the bow where I want it to sit, and I want it just under that sentiment. And that is our card finished. And I just love the colours. I love the peach and the lilac together. It just really works. And it's looking lopsided on the camera, and it isn't. As I look at it, it's fine. And I don't want to fiddle and fiddle. But it just, you know, it just works. You can see the layers. It will go in a normal envelope. It's not too high because my 3D foam's not too high. And it's just such the pretty contrast. The inside works as well with it all. It just all tones in. It will stand on a mantelpiece proud. And it's just a gorgeous card. A good mixture of products and items, and if you don't have specific ones, substitute them for other things that you might have in your stash. If you don't have the Bohemian cut and embossed dies, use something else. Use some of your compendium dies. Try mixing your dies a little bit and, you know, fooling around with them. That's what my friends across the pond would call it, and just have fun with it. So please check my blog for the list of ingredients that we've used for this one, and for lots and lots of pictures, because it is a beauty, and I'll take lots of pictures of both inside and outside of the card. So I would just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.